We have arrived at episode 8, final episode of season 1 of Netflix live action Avatar, the Airbender series. And it begins with Aang, Sokka, and Katara attacking one of the Fire Nation ships. Aang's bending is a little CGI centric, kind of same with Katara. But they managed to disable the ship. Okay, good. They take the one and then they see this whole fleet of Fire Nation ships coming. And it almost made me wonder, even with the animated Avatar, how did the Fire Nation get this strong? I mean, like, none of the other tribes decided to put up a fight against. I mean, after what they did to the Airbenders, you would think that the Earth Kingdom and the Water Tribe would come together and just like off them, because I mean, it's like thousands of them and they're just going around burning shit. If they come together and do it, they could have done something, but instead they were just relying on the Avatar or whatever. But okay, so that happens. They get back to the Water Tribe and they tell them that the Fire Nation is coming. Thousands of ships. They won't. Well, not thousands, but like a good bit of ships. Was like 100 or so. They won't be able to stop them. They're going to have to put up a fight and try and hold them back as best they could. All right. We then learn what Zhao has planned. It seems that when he went to the Fire Nation temple of the former Avatar Roku, he spoke with one of the sages there, and they told him that the water benders and them get their power from the moon spirit and the water spirit and what the other. And his plan is to kill one of these spirits. Now it all played out exactly like it played out well mostly in the animated series. Only this time around, Zhao is going to be using, or should I say Zhao? I think it's Zhao, yeah. Going to be using one of the air balloon things that they got from Umashu, and he's going to be using it to get in there. So when the battle is about to start, Katara goes to the water bending master and tells him that she wants to fight, and she brought the other female water benders with her, and they put up an argument to do so. So he agrees to let them do what they have to do, and then he sent somebody younger water benders who's still in training to work under Katara, and they start calling her Master Katara, and it's like, okay, all right. Even in the animated series, Katara was always a quick study. She could learn things pretty quickly and pick it up and all that, but you always saw her kind of training. You weren't really seeing that with this. I understand it's a live action that to do certain things, but she got really good really fast. It was really fast. So when they decide to come now, Zuko decides he's gonna sneak in and try and get the Avatar. Okay, so the Fire Nation show up, they start launching fireballs at stuff. The Water Tribe is fighting back as best they could. Okay, all of that. While that's happening now, Aang sees a vision of the former waterbending water tribe Avatar Kuruk, who tells him that his knife is coming closer and that the knife was designed to kill spiritual beings, and the only reason it would be here is something really bad, and that they need to stop it. If this is your knife and your knife was used to do this, and do you know where the knife was? The knife was actually in Roku's temple, and the sage gave it to Zhao. Why would your knife be there? That doesn't make any kind of sense. Wouldn't you have tried to hide it away somewhere, or wouldn't it have been protected by the Water Tribe? Something. No explanation as to how it ends up there, but it's there. And he's going to use it to go and murder the the moon spirit, because Zhao actually wants to kill the moon spirit, because the waterbenders get there power from the moon and the water spirit, but once he kills the moon spirit, they won't be able to bend anymore. So he stated very clear, he's not going to kill the water spirit, because that would cause all kind of destruction across the world and all kind of thing. And as he's going along, he kind of sounds more and more crazy, and you kind of actually start to like it. Honestly, I must hand it to Ken Long. I hope that's my pronouncing his name correctly. Who plays Commander Zhao, or Admiral Zhao, I guess. His performance in this episode actually was spot on crazy. I mean, the rest of them, the acting was very sus. You could have seen it. They were trying to do things that it wasn't coming out exactly, but his performance, oh yeah. So Sokka and Princess Yue are gone into this underground valley thing that is in the water tribe. Apparently there's greenery and thing growing there. It's being fed by the underground hot springs and one and the other to cause all of this sacred water and all that. Okay. While they're there, they see Zhao come in this balloon along with General Iroh and the others, and they're looking. He wants General Iroh to help him find the spirits, right? So he could, off it. When Aang goes with Katara to go and help them, Zuko shows up, right? So Katara tells Aang that to go on ahead, she will handle it, and she decides to fight Zuko. And to be perfectly honest with you, the fight between Katara and Zuko was much better than the fight between Katara and the waterbending master. I mean, even though Zuko tends to use the same moves over and over again, it's gotten kind of repetitive at this point. But, her fight with him was actually much better. You understand? Actually much better. She was using skills and things a lot better and stuff. And I mean, again, you're still seeing the people getting hit with water attacks and they're not even wet. That was really where they're not even wet. So Zhao now ends up finding the moon, because apparently once every time the moon gets full, the spirits come down and take mortal form or something. And he realizes that the spirit is these two fish. One is white, one is black. He realizes that the white one is the moon spirit, so he captures it. Iroh tries to tell him that, what he's doing is crazy, but he is there talking about how, he's going to be a legend, Zhao the moon killer. And then you get to hear his crazy plan about how he wants, about how he's going to become the next Fire Lord. And, Iroh better be at his side to bow down and look at it. I mean, it would have been way more fun to see him become this unhinged and crazy. Again, I must say, his performance, spot on, fantastic, really good to see his craziness there. It would have had more of an impact if it is that he wasn't being manipulated into doing all of this, or he wasn't taking orders to do certain things. Or I shouldn't say what he's doing now, what he was doing at that time was that, but I mean, like, what he was doing before, or this was being, orders were being given to him by Azula. That just didn't, that kind of killed any progress that he had as a villain to build up to what he is. But, he's doing now. So Aang shows up and tells him that, if he lets the spirit go, he will go with him. And then Zhao delivers one of the most authentic and actually sensible lines in this entire thing. When he tells Aang, you really think you matter? You never mattered at all. And I'm like, it kind of makes sense, because what exactly were you all thinking this 10-year-old child was going to do? You've been trying to conquer the world for like 100 years. I mean, even if they had offed him at the air temple, they would have just had to go to the water tribe and start the search all over again and do all of this stuff until they get where they have to get done. But in regards to it, Aang has never really played any big significant role in stopping anything in just these 8 episodes at all that the Fire Nation has been doing. Everything they've set out to do, they have done in one way or another. He has not been instrumental in anything. Do apologize if you hear any noise in the background, some construction going on by where I am at this moment, where I'm recording this. But yeah, he literally hasn't done anything to disrupt their plans. I mean, yes, everybody's worried about the Avatar, like this big boogeyman who's going to come out there, but apart from that, they're pretty much doing whatever the hell they want. So he basically tells Aang, screw you, I'm not going to do it. Aang airbends him, and then, Iroh shoots some fire and stuff, but then Zhao ends up driving the knife into the spirit and killing it. And when that happens, the moon literally starts to disappear in the sky. The waterbenders lose their ability to waterbend. Even Katara loses her ability to waterbend, and then stuff starts to get blown up. The Fire Nation rams their ship into the so-called impenetrable ice wall, and then starts attacking. I must say, honestly, their siege of the North was a whole lot better than what happened in Game of Thrones, because you could actually see what was going on, and there was no crap where somebody comes out and tells that oh, your TV wasn't adjusted well to see it. No, you could have come out and said, you shut the damn thing dark, that's all, but, I digress. So it actually wasn't bad. They were actually getting pretty good, pretty well slaughtered there and all of this. So after Zhao does that, now he takes off because, he's crazy and he decides to run off and all of this stuff. And as usual, was whining through the whole thing about how, he's the Avatar to do this. So he does what happened before, and he goes into the pool and gives over his self to the water spirit, and then he turns into a giant black water kaiju. Yeah, we saw it in the animated thing. Okay, starts attacking the Fire Nation and all of that. Zhao is running off. Zuko finds him, attacks him, and then Zhao tells him that if he really thought all of this was actually mattered to his father at all, he tells him that the one who's been his partner, in all of this, who told his father to make him an admiral and do all of this was his sister Azula, and that Zuko never mattered at all. But then, Zuko has a little mental breakdown. Well, not really a big breakdown, a little mental realization. Iroh ends up killing Zhao, who again I say was the best performer in this entire episode. Aang goes on a rampage, destroying stuff. They say that, there is no more Aang, he's just a vengeful spirit. So, of course, the Princess Yue decides to sacrifice herself. She gives back the life force that the spirit that the moon spirit gave to her, so she's no longer there. The moon spirit comes back. I think you get to see Katara again trying to plead with Aang. Aang, come back. You don't have to do this. And it's so badly delivered. There's that word. I mean, she's trying to force these emotions, but it's just not happening. It's like she's talking to the guy down the street that she might run into once in a while, going on about how, oh, you're a family. And it just doesn't have the emotional impact that it should have. But because the spirit gets returned, the water spirit goes back, Aang comes back, the Fire Nation gets decimated, and they have to take off with their tail between their legs, and thus the North is safe. When that happens, now we get to see the aftermath. A lot of people are dead and all of this stuff. Anyway, let's finish it up and thought. Zuko has to go back, whatever, and then we get the Fire Lord talking and saying that the siege of the North was just a distraction, so they could actually go and take Omashu. See, they're bringing Bumi and Chase, and then you see Azula there, and she's all the Fire, there's like victorious, all this and that, and I think that was such a bad way to do it, because what you could have done was, at that last episode, that was when you could have introduced Azula in the first place. What could have happened is that you could have had the Fire Lord say that the siege in the North was just a distraction for his most trusted warrior to take Omashu, and then you could have seen them dragging Bumi, drop him on the ground there, and they say, we've brought the former king, Princess Azula, and she's sitting on the throne there, and she makes some snide comment to him before they drag him, and then she goes, just turns around and says, maybe I should go hunt the Avatar since Zuzu keeps screwing up or something like that. You know, that would have been a good way to introduce her as this primary antagonist for the next season. What? No, it just, the whole thing with her there just seemed very forced, and you just don't care. Just really and truly don't care. And then after that, you know, the Fire Lord is there with the sage from Roku's temple, who tells him that, you know, Sozan's comet is coming and will be here soon. Even though they had originally said that, you know, they weren't going to include the comet because that was going to put like a ticking clock on it to get things done. But I knew they were going to have to introduce the comet because it's an essential part of the Avatar story. It needs to be there. But they weren't trying to do it. So that's pretty much the end of what happens with this. That's the final episode of season 1 of this. Now, I will say that, you know, this final episode, I really did enjoy Zhao's performance, and there were a few things in there. Katara's battle with Zuko was actually really good, and a few other little tidbits here and there. But overall, I was not really impressed with this series. It was never going to live up to the animated series at all. And even though they're saying that, you know, oh, this series was geared more towards a mature audience, when you look at the animated series, that was actually a really good balance of maturity, childishness, hope, action, good story, and all these things. There were mature elements in there, but the way it was done, the way it was delivered, was in a hopeful manner. Whereas in this now, every episode, Aang is whining about him being the Avatar. The avatars that he keeps meeting, apart from Roku, are a bunch of assholes. The story kind of feels lackluster, not making sense. Zuko's motivation, and I think that happened to him, doesn't seem to fit him as a character. The majority of the cast are not sure who they're supposed to be. The acting is not delivered very well at all. Some of the CGI doesn't look good when it comes to the bending. I mean, some look okay, no problem. Some do look okay, some not so much at all. But I will say that, you know, this final episode wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but that really isn't enough to, like, in my opinion, you know, really give this thing over the top. So my final rating for Netflix live action Avatar season 1, I will give this a 2.9 out of 5. If you want to check it out, okay, but in my opinion, it just, nah. I don't think I'm going to be watching another season like this at all. I think I will just keep my memories and my love of the animated series, where I think that was done really good, and this one just, in my opinion, doesn't live up to it. That's it for me. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. I have a different opinion. I'd love to hear it. If you like, even if you hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I post a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.